Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Tiny Kitchen. For those of you who have been around a while, thank you for coming back, and for those of you who are new, thank you for coming along. Excuse my voice, it's been going in and out on me for a couple of weeks now. Don't know why, don't care. In case you're wondering what we got going on today, we have lots of pickles. This is 5 pounds of pickles that I gotta do something with. So I've decided I'm going to make some relishes, and we got to get these all ground up and ready to go. So let me move them out of the way, get my cutting board here, and we'll show you what we're going to do. So basically, and we'll flip this over. Basically what we're going to do is cut the ends off, and I'm going to chunk them up, throw them in my food processor. These aren't big enough to have to pull the seeds out of. And yes, these are from the garden. My vines have been going crazy. So, cut any bad spots. Yeah, I got that one. And now, let me pop you up here so you can see what I'm going to do. Get you zoomed in. We got our food processor going here. Got her full. Let me focus you in. There we go. So basically I'm just going to pulse this until I get it all broken down into relish size. Off of here, and we'll put you back down. And focus you in here. And this is what it's going to look like. So you got a nice fine dice on it. And I'm going to finish up these pickles, and I'll be back in a hot minute. So for the next step, we're going to add a half a teaspoon of turmeric. I'm using 2.5 pounds of the cucumbers. I've got another recipe. You'll see that later. And then I've got 1/8 of a cup of, I'm using sea salt. You can use canning salt. We're going to stir this in, mix it in really good. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of cold water. Stir it a little bit more. Get all that cucumberness in the liquid. And now I'm going to put a lid on it, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for 2 hours. And we'll be back. It's been 2 hours. And what I did with the cucumber and onion mixture is I drained it, and then I rinsed it with cold water to rinse off the excess salt. And now we're ready for the rest of the recipe. So I have a half a cup of onion that I did in the food processor. I have 2 tablespoons of dill weed, and I have tablespoon and a half of salt, and then I'm going to sugar, and then I'm going to add a cup of vinegar, and I'm going to stir this in, turn my power on, bring this to a boil, and then turn it down and cook it for about 10 minutes. And then once we get that all done, it'll be time to can it. So we will see you in a little bit. It's cooked and it's time to can. So I ended up having to cook this for like 30 minutes on my stove because my stove is just kind of hinky. But probably 10-15 minutes at about medium high or 5 would work for you. So what I'm going to start doing here is I'm going to move you a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Make sure I got you focused. Enough. So now I'm going to start loading my jars. And I've got 6 here, but I think it's going to be a little bit more. And I want to give each jar about half an inch of head space. So I'm going to load it. And you don't want to use metal. I'm going to use the plastic handle of one of my spatulas. And I'm going to push this down. And I can put a little bit more in there. Then once I get them all loaded, I'm going to wipe the tops of the lids off with a damp cloth or a paper towel. I usually just use a paper towel. And hand tighten them, and you'll see that in a minute. So while we're going here, I will see you in a couple minutes. I ended up with 5 jelly jars full of the relish, so we're going to rub the edges off here with a paper towel. And once I get this done, I'm going to put the lids on. And these are pretty dry. I did a pretty good job with these. Didn't get them too messy. And I don't know how these are going to work, but I have, if you see, I have a lid and a ring. Oh, now it fell out. Oh, so I'm going to add this to the top of the jars. And you don't want to, you're just going to finger tighten them. Come on, go on there. And that's all you got to do. And now I'm going to add them to my pressure cooker. I've got an electric canner. We're not going to pressure cook these. We're going to hot water bath them. So give me a minute and I'll get you turned around and we will show you what we're going to do next. So I got my pressure can or hot water bath ready to go. So I'm going to add my jars, and I'm going to have to add some more water to this because you want at least 1 to 2 inches over the top of the jars when you're hot water bathing. So we got those in. I'm going to add some more water. And you'll hear some water running in the background because this still isn't going to be enough. I like to have at least 2 inches over the tops of the jars. That just ensures that the water's not going to evaporate too much out of this canner. And they'll be able to can properly. So I'm going to add some more water here. And that should be enough. That's about 2 inches above the jelly jars. So we're going to put the lid on and start the next step. I'm going to put this little handy dandy thing down, and I'm sorry it's a little blurry for you all. So we've inserted the jars, and I'm going to start the next step, which is going to warm it up, and I'll be back to show you what we got after we're done. So I've got my 5 jars of dill relish out of the pressure canner, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them set overnight in this spot, and that's just to ensure that everything seals and that the seals don't break if you're moving them around. And I really can't wait to open this and try it on something. I'm so glad that you guys came along for the ride, and I hope to see you on the next video. So God bless and have a good night.